All right, cool. We're live. We're
We
just
now rejoin Entre Programmers already in progress.
yeah. We always start talking about stuff, and then well, everyone tries to not talk about stuff.
Yeah. We're all like staring at our hands and our fingernails until.
Yeah. Back in the day, we just used to talk about Josh's job.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't talk about that on air.
Yep.
So hopefully Derek should be joining us. But I was just talking about we were just talking about the body fat. So I'll recap it real quick. So I went to the gym to get my body fat measured because I was like, well, because the scales are so off, and really I know that the scale's off, but I want I just want to see the difference, right? I don't care what the number says. I want to see progress, right? And
yeah.
so, but it's often that as well. So I finally said, okay, well, let me go to the gym and let me. A trainer there is where I'm already going is going to be pretty good at calipers. He's probably done this for 10, 15 years. Right. And so anyway, he grabbed, the fattest, he did a 4-point measurement. He grabbed the fattest parts that he could. Right. And he came up with a measurement on me of 11%. And I'm, pretty ripped. So I was not expecting 11%, but I was talking about how I basically ended up doing some videos on it. It was good fodder for videos because I could fight it. And I could be like, oh, it's not 11%. That's bullshit. Measure it again. And it's too high. But, it's kind of a good thing because it means there's a low hanging fruit. Because if it were if he came back and he's like, oh, you're at 5.5%. Well, I'd be like, oh, fuck, what do I do? I can't go any lower. It's going to be really hard. I'm not where I want to be, aesthetically. I feel like there's still fat on me. And so I'm not, so where can I go? But when he says 11%, I'm actually pretty happy about that result, even though some people would be upset by that because I'm like, whoa, that's great. That means that I got a long way to go. Right. So that was the first thing. I did a video on that about talking about how seeing reality. First of all, reality is reality. But then second, just having low-hanging fruit is a good thing. If you think you're the best programmer in the world and then you meet you get a job at some company and there's really good programmers and you feel like you suck, there's two responses you can have. One, you could be like, oh, the ego-driven, I just want to goal and not the work for it result or not the results, and you could be like, oh, that you could deny it, you could you know what I mean, or you could be like, fuck, this is awesome, I thought I was the best and now I find out I'm actually shit. This is great because I have this much room to grow, right? That's right. To me, that's my reaction. That's what I like is I want to find out that I think I'm awesome and then I'm not, and then that means that there's a lot of room to grow. So that was that whole thing with the body fat. And then the same thing, similar thing is I did another video and I was talking about how your goals, you should judge yourself more. Okay, it essentially came down to this. If you got to measure 12 inches, don't use an 11-inch ruler, use a 13-inch ruler. That's much better, right? So, because if you use a 13-inch ruler, you know that you've made it 12 inches. Right? Because there's no doubt, right? So be harsher on yourself on reaching your goals, to make sure that it's accurate. If you use an 11-inch ruler, you could stretch and be like, oh yeah, I reached my goal. I could say, oh yeah, I'm at 7% body fat because when I do this measurement, right? There's 10 different ways to measure your body fat with calipers, right? So I could until I'm ideal and say, oh, I hit my goal, right? But that doesn't mean jack shit. Instead, I want to be as harsh as possible. I want to use the 13-inch ruler to measure 12 inches. And then if you get 12 inches with a 13-inch ruler, you fucking did it. There's no doubt. There's no, right? You've actually achieved your real goal. So anyway, that's my soapbox for today.
That's pretty cool. Well, yeah, hopefully that'll give you, I'm curious to see how consistent that is for you.
Yeah.
Because the scales are so frustrating because, well, I mean, it's just, I did that recently I did this really extreme diet, which I didn't talk about on the show, but basically I was eating about 700 or 800 calories a day for about 2 weeks, which sounds crazy, but there's a bunch of parameters that you put in place that makes it safe, and it worked really well. But the problem, So yeah, and through doing that, I was able to eliminate all these variables, and so I was able to measure really, really precise progress from even from day to day.
Yeah.
And that is so that is so important if you're going to be pushing yourself hard. What's really hard is when you're pushing yourself really hard and you don't know if you're getting anywhere at all because maybe you're not pushing hard enough, or maybe you're pushing too hard. And that's where it's really tough mentally to stick with it.
Well, I'd say, I mean, there's two sides there, right? There's the viewpoint of, and I don't know, I think I probably would fall on the other side, which, well, I mean, you got to measure. It's when you measure. That's really what the question comes down to, because in you know, I think one of the best things you can do to be successful at something is come up with the plan. Like, I'm going to do this. This is the plan. I'm going to execute the plan. I'm not worrying about the progress or the results right now, you know, trusting the process, obviously. But when I'm done, like whatever period you set, like if you set 7 days, now I'll look at the stats and the results and see what it is. And the reason why I say that is because, like, you could, I mean, you know, the whoosh effect with the, right? So you could be like, oh, this shit isn't working. You'd get discouraged, you give up. But I think if you gave it like 8 days, you'd like at the end of 8 days, if you followed the protocol, whether it be losing fat, whether it be like writing, or, you know, whatever the thing is, as long as you've given it enough time period and you check in and check results, you're going to have, you know, but I understand what you're saying about the day-to-day, like it can be encouraging to get day-to-day progress if you're, you know, and if you need to adjust.
Right. But so the way I did it was I initially had committed, I was like, okay, so it's a 12-day, like the most for, if you're at my level, like I'm about 12% body fat now. So if you're like pretty lean, you're supposed to only do this extreme diet for about 12 days. And I was like, okay, I'm not really quite ready to commit to that. It's a long time to not eat much. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do this for 3 days. Right. And then I'm going to measure, you know, I'm going to see if I see any progress. And then I hit the end of 3 days and I was like, I'm not sure if this is working at all, but I was like, screw it. I'm just going to go, I'm going to do the whole thing. Exactly. And it was like about 5 or 6 days in where I really started to see that the day to day, like basically, you know, it was very predictable. What I was seeing after that. So it would have been tough because I was definitely getting pretty drained, like physically and mentally by the end. It catches up to you, and it would have been tough if I hadn't seen any progress up to that point, but
but yeah, I think most people, like, the biggest mistake most people make is not sticking with something long enough in order to be able to see the result, especially things like this where it takes a long time. I mean, losing fat or losing weight doesn't take as long, but getting the body fat percentage down takes, especially with measurement, like it can take some time before because there has to be enough of a difference to account for to make up for the, what do you call it, the out of the bell curve, just
like this
differential, the
statistical I know what you're derivative standard deviation, the standard deviation, because there's a lot, especially when if you're doing extreme things or there's some kind of change in the, you know, so but that's good. Congrats. That's tough. Yeah, I survived. So I've been doing a lot of like kind of thinking, soul searching while I was starving myself. And I've really had these two conflicting goals. So I really enjoy the gymnastics training that I'm doing, the strength, which is basically functional strength training, and eventually you will get some good like hypertrophy and muscle growth out of it, but it actually takes a long time to build the base before you get to the point where you start putting on real muscle. And then but I'm really interested. I really enjoy this gymnastics training that I've been doing. And then I also have these body fat, you know, body comp goals, which involve me getting a little bit leaner, you know, probably putting on some muscle, and they're kind of at odds. Right. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to build functional strength when you're when you're cutting all the time. So since I started the gymnastics program last summer, I've probably been in a calorie deficit about 2/3 of the time. So that's definitely stunted my progress there. And on the other hand, I haven't gone, all in and done like a really hardcore, lifting routine to try to make really good progress on the cutting or, kind of on the body comp side either. And so I've been really thinking like, which direction do I, which is more important?
Right.
And so I really, for me, the gymnastics stuff is going to win out. I'm really enjoying that. And it's the first thing I've really stuck with. Every time I do weights, I hate my life. So it's like, I think I could do it for a while, but I would, I tend to get injured right now and just burn out on it pretty quickly. So
it's kind of
basically, or like the body, like if you're really going for like body comp, it's like I did that 2-week stint where I was lifting twice a day, and I actually I made some significant progress doing that.
Yeah.
I actually gained some muscle, but I hated every minute of it.
Yeah.
And so it's not like the gymnastic stuff is like all fun, bowl full of laughs. It's definitely hard work too, but it's definitely, I feel better as a person. Like I feel more functional. I feel I have less aches and pains. So I think for like the next 1 to 2 quarters, I'm going to basically just work on maintaining the body comp that I have and really double down on the gymnastics training. So I've been doing strength training, every body part once a week on that, and then doing a lot of stretching. And I'm actually going to be putting the stretching stuff on hold and just working on increasing my work capacity on the strength training part to where I'm doing it twice a week. So basically you do Tuesday, Thursday, or Monday, Thursday, I'll be doing all like the entire routine instead of splitting it across 2 days.
Yeah.
And I have to work up to that because it's pretty intense. So that's going to be my focus for the next quarter. And then through doing that extreme calorie deficit that I did, I figured out that my maintenance calories are 1,700, which is a lot lower than I thought. So I actually think that if I do this and I stick with that every day, with that maintenance level, that I'm actually going to be able to maintain what I've got now, make some really good progress on my gymnastics training, and then probably, let my body recover from I've been like doing this doing weird dieting things for about 3 years.
I don't know what that's like.
Yeah. So if I just like try to shoot for maintenance level for 6 months, I think my body would probably benefit from that.
Try 15 years.
Yeah, I know. I'm whining, but
no, that is. I agree with the only modification I would make for you that I would say, because it sounds right, what you said, what makes sense for you for sure. But the only modification I would make is to add at least 1 hypertrophy or maybe 2 hypertrophy workouts of just chest into your routine, because that's your biggest bang for your buck as far as aesthetics, right? Like looking at your before and after pictures, like you could, and it wouldn't be hard. Like you could develop your chest in 6 months to the point where it's going to be like night and day difference. It'll be easy gains as far as muscle, just because it's underdeveloped, and chest is one of those easier areas to develop anyway. So if you just added a few hypertrophy, you just got to do hypertrophy. You got to make sure that you're not, because one of the things with the functional strength is it's usually lower rep or isometric exercises based on, most athletes that are doing that don't want to gain mass. They want to have a higher strength to mass ratio. So they're actually working on not gaining mass. So if you did some hypertrophy, 8 to 10 rep range, high volume, just chest, just with a bench, you would see results, and they would probably also help you just with body comp, because you'd be actually building muscle, which that energy's got to come from somewhere. So it's going to probably keep your fat low.
That makes sense. Yeah, my chest is definitely, so the gymnastic stuff has been awesome for my back, especially like my lats.
I saw your lats first.
Serratus is really we do one of the exercise, like there's a lot of scapular manipulation. So you're like, you're doing ring rows, you're pulling yourself and that's like, lats. I hadn't done pull-ups in 6 to 8 months, and I went from a max of like 8 to 11
Nice.
without doing a single pull-up. Like I was just doing these rows. But then also, there's a scapular move where you're like in a push-up position, and you're basically just it looks ridiculous. It looks like you're just wiggling your shoulders back and forth, but you're pressing from the deep muscles in your back.
Yeah.
And it's super intense, but that's really good for serratus. There are push-ups, but it's right now it's like higher rep stuff, so it's not really. It's hard to do, but it's not gonna like do a lot of chest development. So I'm thinking I might throw in some either. I'm considering getting a bench, but I might try to do like a floor press type of thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And throw that on at the end of my regular workouts.
Yeah. But that'll work out. I'll be curious to see how that works. But you've made a huge amount of progress in the last like 3 years. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I found a photo of myself from like 2013. It's hilarious. In like a year or two, when I actually made some real gains, I'll have to do like a collage. But
yeah, well, eventually I have to put you on my veiny bastard program. Too. It's been working out good for me. I'm still been making tweaks to it, but I think I've got it dialed in now. Like in the last year, I gained about 10 pounds of muscle, and my body fat is, I've already shown my abs today, but it's dropped down. So I mean, for me to gain 10 pounds of muscle in a year and keep the whole time maintaining a sub 10% body fat, or what I think is
11
body fat, is pretty amazing, having been training for this long.
Yeah.
And being around 220 pounds. So plus with all the running. Oh yeah. So while we're on the fitness thing, I completed my first full marathon. Got the jacket. Completed it on
that's awesome.
Marathon finisher jacket.
Nice.
Got the medal up there. But I finished it on Sunday, 26.2 miles in 4 hours and 37 minutes. So my goal was 5 hours initially. And then on the day I made my goal 4 hours and 30 minutes, but that wasn't in the cards. There was this huge ass hill on mile 23.
Yeah. You just like to do the Charlie Brown football thing to yourself.
Yeah, well, I wanted to make sure I set an aggressive goal. So I thought I was going to make it in under 4:30. I came really close. I think it was what I said, 4:36 and 15 seconds or something like that. So I was happy with that, especially with the hill. I mean, this was the San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon, and mile 23 was straight up a fucking hill. Like for the entire mile, it was insane. People, like almost everyone was walking, but I didn't walk. I said, nope, I don't even care if walkers are walking faster than I'm running. I'm running the damn thing. So I did, and I completed it. And then, here's the crazy thing. So that week I had skipped legs and lifting. This is we should just rename this to the anorexia show.
Yeah.
Right. We're just encouraging people, like
the anchorexics.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, I got home and I felt pretty good. Like, I definitely gave it a huge effort, but I've been training, 40-mile weeks and whatnot for like, over a year and stuff. So when the full marathon, even though it was a new achievement for me, like to do it, and I think my pace was like 10:20 or something, per minute mile. But it's not for me, running a marathon isn't the toenails falling off, dropping to the floor and being dead for 2 weeks. That's someone who's not really very trained and just like, and they're doing this as very much as a stretch, or they just they went from couch to start a marathon training program. So just to give that background so that it doesn't appear that I'm that crazy, but essentially I got home, ate some cookies and stuff. I did actually break my diet. So there you go. But after a couple of hours, I was like, shit, I missed leg day this week. So I need to go to the gym and hit legs. So I did a leg workout, lifted legs, maybe about an hour and a half.
Okay. All right.
Well,
I don't
I
know.
cut it down a little bit. I didn't go
Okay.
quite as heavy. I didn't want to snap my hamstrings off after running 26
Oh
miles.
gosh.
So I went, and then also I was like, okay, well, because if I'm gonna go and eat some pasta tonight, I feel like I need to like make my muscles insulin sensitive. So I did, and yeah, and so I felt pretty good. But then the other thing was I was looking at my Y Things badges, and I was like, I wanted to get that 50,000 steps badge that's been eluding me for so long, right? And so I hit it, and I was like, oh, cool, awesome. And then it showed up on my thing. It was like, next badge, 60,000 steps, Hermes shoes. So I was like, well, fuck, what other day am I going to hit 60,000? I was already at like 55,000 steps. So I was like, so I started walking around the block, and I did another 5,000 steps. And so I hit 60,000
Oh
steps.
my gosh. Wow.
My total calorie burn, like estimated, was 10,000 calories, right under 10,000 calories. So yeah, so that was fun.
Wow. Also known to most people as 5 days.
I did eat a lot that day. I mean, I ate after the race, and then I ate some pasta, and I ate a bunch of cookies. So I actually ended up feeling a little guilty, but I think I did okay. I know.
Wow.
But well, because I'm trying to get down. You know, I've been working to get to seriously hit my goals. So, and I made modifications now on the program that I was doing on my Veiny Bastard edition to to do a little bit less on the fat and more on the I've been eating veggies like crazy, so which I'm actually enjoying. I'm actually liking. I like veggies a lot. So
okay, this is really crazy. So when I was so I'll go into a little bit more detail about the crazy diet that I did. So it's basically keto. The idea is it's basically keto minus the fat.
Yeah.
So it's still ketogenic diet. So you do basically like moderate amount of protein, and then you do protein and veggies, and then some like vitamins and fish oil, so you don't become deficient in anything. And then you just cut out basically all carbs, all fat. So your calories drop way down, but you're actually getting you're getting pretty good nutrition. So it's not, you're not like you're not losing muscle through the whole thing.
Right.
So I had this crazy thing happen though. About 7 or 8 days in, I was eating broccoli for dinner.
Okay.
Chicken and broccoli. No, this is good. So chicken and broccoli was pretty much what I ate for dinner every day. And I was like, holy cow, this broccoli tastes like it has butter on it.
Yeah.
And so it was almost like it reset my taste buds. So now anything other than salt on my veggies, and I'm tasting them a lot better.
Yeah.
And the broccoli now tastes like it has butter on it to me. And my wife is like, you sound like an orphan child.
I do a little bit of spray butter now. It makes a salt stick to it better.
Okay. All right.
But that's funny how that happens.
Crazy. Yeah. So, but yeah, veggies are good. Eat your veggies, kids.
Yeah. But it's interesting how that works. But I'm finding that works better. I've cut the carbs down more and made it more from the. Oh, there is only one bad thing about the low fat, right? Which I mean, I've done this enough times that I know when I'm low on fat. The gentleman downstairs is not quite as eager to get to work. Like sex drive tends to drop a lot on low fat when you're dieting, I found. So like when I was high fat on the keto, libido is up, but when you're calorie deficit and you're low fat, at least this is my experience having done this a lot of times. It's the only like major side effect. That was the thing I was trying to overcome too with the way I was doing the diet before. So I got to figure out again another solution for that. I think taking the fish oil definitely makes sense, but what I'm thinking I might do another modification to my diet is to have at least one high fat day per week where it's a more high fat keto, and even though the other days are the vegetable ones, so that you can at least keep that level up. But it's just once you get down to a certain low body fat percentage, that's just like a side effect. You can't avoid that, right? So.
Yep. They make little pills for that, John.
Well, so it's not. So just to be specific, since I was specific, there's not a problem with actual performance that I've noticed. It's just the desire to
The interest
perform.
level, yeah.
Right. That's what I've always noticed, because I know some people say, oh, but yeah, never seem to have that problem. Although I'm not.
It's an entirely different show, and Chuck and Derek don't show up.
It is. But it's more of the other side, and I think anyone who's I think anyone who's done low fat stuff will probably relate to it. But that's just vanity is it has a price. It has a high price for vanity. So yeah.
Speaking of which, I've noticed your bracelets and jewelry. Is that all? That you're experimenting with different things from your the image consultant that you talked to.
Well, you know what? I finally got permission to wear a bracer. I've always wanted to have a bracer.
Oh yeah.
So actually, it's funny. I was just telling someone, I was like, I was telling my wife, because I was staring in the mirror, just admiring myself with my bracelet on. And I was like, I have finally achieved my childhood dream. I look like fucking Hercules. Right? That was like, ever since I was a kid, the only reason why I ever wanted to lift weights, or anything, was seeing Lou Ferrigno and Hercules. Now, I don't quite look like Lou Ferrigno, but when I have my bracer on, and I have my shirt off, I look like Hercules, in my opinion, in my vision of what Hercules should look like. This is it. So I have achieved my childhood dream. And I got permission to wear a bracer, and I think it looks good. I like the bracer. So, yeah. And I got
noticed the new Apple Watch band there.
Oh yeah, this is kind of cool. It's a cuff. So if you see this, it's actually like it's not really it's thicker than a band.
Yeah. Yep.
Nice. And I've got another one coming in. I bought a bunch of different stuff, because a lot of it's like really cheap costume jewelry type of stuff, so I can just play with it and see what works for me. But I'm liking the I got a little black leather strap for it as well, so if I want to do black leather, but so there we go.
Nice. Yeah, it seems like you've gotten a whole bunch. So the background is that, John, you now have worked with 2 different image consultants, right? So
right, yeah.
There was the first one you went shopping with, and then this other one, this guy did a consult for you. And have you met him in person, or?
No, in fact, I've got another meeting with him next week, just online. He did a really good job.
Yeah.
We're going to be talking about facial hair and haircut. I've been growing my hair out so I can get a haircut. So he's really good. He both of them are really good, but he gets, I think, my personal style more, whereas the woman that I went out with, she was really, really good. She wanted to make me look less like a ghetto person. Right? She was just like, she wanted me to look like someone who had money, like who had power and money, which was good. I needed that, because I was wearing tank tops and backwards hats. It was not projecting the image of success that I want to. But the only problem with her was that she was like, button your shirt, and and this other guy, he's like, no, you want the rakish image, so you got to unbutton your shirt. He's like, wear the expensive shirt, but leave that shit on, but like show more skin. And he's like, wear some leather, right? He kind of gets that element. So I like the idea of combining them both, of saying, okay, let's up it. Let's wear $100, $200 shirts and expensive clothing and some things that make the image look so that there is success there. But then let's take it and let's unbutton the shirt. Let's break the rules a little bit. Let's wear some leather and things like that. Put a couple of bright colors in there. So between the two of them, right, it's like I'm getting their expertise in the stuff that I don't have the expertise. So I know my own style and image, like what I want, but they're helping me achieve it because they understand which clothings and which things, right, and giving me sort of thing. So well, I think it is well worth it. I feel better about it, and just like things you don't think, like I could give the same advice, I feel like, to someone else, right? I could be like, oh, I could look at someone, and I do it sometimes with the coaching, but you can't see yourself as much. And so like just having these outside opinions and saying, oh, okay, this is what you need to do, to up your style and stuff has helped me. And this is one of those things, like I know some people are like, man, this is the anorexia vanity episode of but it's just like at a certain level of success, if you want to project success, especially with me doing so many YouTube videos, I need to have that higher level of image, especially to go out to the bigger platform. And I've been wanting to do this. I've had clothes sitting in my wardrobe for like 3 years wearing the same clothes just because I've been delaying doing this. So I think, it was fairly expensive, but I think it was a good investment because now I have like a consistent style and direction that I'm going with it. So I'm working this week. I've been working on the bonuses for the career guide book. And so what I did was I went in and I exported a list of all of the blog posts from that we published, the chapters we published on the blog, and then sorted by page views to see which ones had the most interest. And then I was thinking we could create bonuses around those topics. And one of the top, in the top 5 was the chapter about dressing, like what to wear as a software developer. And that was also something that jumped out to me. That chapter jumped out to me when I was reading it. And it also, we got several comments from the beta reader team about how awesome that chapter was. So I'm thinking, what would you want to do? What if you did, I mean, you could do it yourself, but I think it might be cool to interview this guy that you're working with, do like a half-hour interview with him as like an exclusive for the book. Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah, I think that would make sense. He's interested in doing it. I mean, we could do, because I want to do a general interview with him that we'll release to YouTube.
Okay.
But maybe a more specific interview related to that chapter where we get down into the real,
Yeah, I think like if you did the general interview, do it about what you're doing with him, which I think your YouTube channel folks would be interested in anyway. And then maybe do the follow-up interview, or do an interview that's more like a how-to, like specific advice for a software developer who's in a professional setting, yada yada yada.
Yeah, that's great. I like that. Yeah, I think that would make sense. That's cool.
That'll be in the list then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that one surprised me. It surprised me that it jumped out to me, and because I was kind of like, when I saw the title, I was kind of like, oh, but then there's a whole section at the end about charisma and creating contrast.
Yeah.
And kind of surprising people a little bit, and using stereotypes to your advantage by breaking them in some specific intentional way, and creating intrigue, and that was really good stuff.
Cool. So, yeah, I think it is something that a lot of developers don't really consider. They don't realize how important it is. Like, how you look, like the image that you portray is, if I can guarantee you that if I just change my clothes right now, not only would people perceive me completely differently if I put my hat on.
You have to change the rating on this podcast.
Right. But I would act differently as well, right? Because you do tend to, like, how you vision yourself is really how you act. But people will perceive you completely differently, and controlling that image. It's funny because in the chapter I talk about, like, I essentially say dress up. I essentially say the answer to everything is to dress at a higher level, even if you're allowed to, even if you're on California time and your boss is wearing flip flops and whatnot. In fact, I did a Hey John section in there that you haven't read yet, where I talked about, well, Mark Zuckerberg wears a t-shirt. I'm like, well, he built his own fucking business. Okay. Like, if you build Facebook, you can do that. But would he be more successful and taken even more seriously if he was a real sharp dresser? Probably. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
maybe not. I mean, he also, that's also part of his persona, right? He kind of broke, that's kind of that actually is kind of breaking a stereotype a little bit. Now it's gotten to the, once you have a few people that have done that and
Yeah.
it's that way, then it becomes everybody else trying to imitate them.
Right.
And then they're just posers, right? And but the first few people that do that, it actually becomes their persona.
But there's almost no, and that may be true, and again, like I think it can work for, but there, what I've kind of come to realize is there's almost no penalty for being sharply dressed, right? Like being not sharply dressed could work for you, but if you are like, never are you, even in that California office where your boss is wearing flip-flops, if you come in and you are sharply dressed, you're going to get ragged on a little bit at first, but it doesn't matter what people are saying. It's what they're actually perceiving. Like they're going to say one thing, but they're actually going to perceive you whether they want to or not. I think one of the things I talked about in the chapter is like, it doesn't matter what you say. Like if someone is dressed in a police officer's uniform, you are going to feel about them a certain way. Like it doesn't matter. You can put in your head, I know this guy's not a police officer. I know he's not, right? Or you can sit, whatever it is, or firefighter or a military uniform, it is going to affect the way you deal with them and see them and perceive them. No matter what you try and tell yourself, no matter what you say, it's so hardwired into your brain, and that's the thing. So, yeah, it's interesting though how many people caught on to that chapter.
Yeah, well, I've actually always, like when I started working from home, one of the rules I made for myself was I will not work in my pajamas.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't dress up by any means, but I'm wearing jeans. I'm like actually dressed to where I could go out in public.
Yeah.
Whenever I'm working, and that actually has a big. You don't feel like sitting around watching TV when you do that.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, by the way, we should probably announce the biggest announcement of the year for Simple Programmer, which I'd like to publicly congratulate my new business partner in full, Josh Earl, who now we're basically 50-50 owners of Simple Programmer now. I own, I think, 49.99%, and you own,
well,
I own 51.
That plus the muscle, right? So
yeah.
You can put me in a headlock.
I've got just enough of a percentage to have to be the decision maker, the ultimate, like, so we don't end up in a stalemate. But but essentially we are equal partners in the company, and so I couldn't think of a better partner to have. You've certainly proven yourself. Brought we wouldn't be where we were today without the work that you put into Simple Programmer. And I can't even imagine if I was sitting here trying to do all this shit by myself. So it's I'm greatly honored to be able to announce it and to have you as a partner. So
thanks, John. Yeah, it has been a lot of fun, and I've enjoyed almost every minute of it.
Almost.
Sometimes when you get deep in those writing sessions, but yeah, no, this has been great, and we're really just barely even getting momentum here too. Yeah, it's really, really exciting. So onward.
Yeah, and welcome to the Millionaire Club, because technically your equity position in this company I value Simple Programmer based on a multiplier. I think our revenue this year will be about $500,000 pretty easily. So if you've got like even at a conservative like 4x multiplier times revenue on a almost purely profit company, that would put us at 2 million. So I think we're probably more in the 2.5 to 3. So there you go.
Yeah, I told my wife that. She was like, "Really?"
I mean, I think that's
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I think that's fair. So, yeah, it's pretty funny because I don't feel like a millionaire.
I know.
But I mean, that's really the way it works. Like, having a business is the fastest way to grow, to build real wealth. But it also it takes a long time before you really see the huge returns off of it. So
definitely, yeah. It's actually interesting. Ty Lopez put out a new commercial. I'll have to actually do a video on it now because it was really good. Like it was showing up on a lot of my YouTube videos. So I was like, oh, I should watch this.
Is that the one where he pulls up in the limousine? He's like, "Hey, have you ever thought about investing in real estate?"
No, well, no.
Okay.
This is one where he's like, he bought some land in Virginia or something.
Okay.
And he says, you know, there's two things I'd recommend for people, like essentially to make money or to be wealthy, like or future. And the first one, I was like, okay, I got to hear what he says. What is the two, right? You know, because I'm still like, you know, people are always like, what's your opinion on Ty Lopez? And like, well, I don't know the guy, so I can't give you a solid opinion. Like I've seen his ad. I know he's a marketing genius. There's no question about that. Like whether you like him or not, or you think he's spammy or bullshit or whatever, he's that. And I know he tells people to read a lot of really good books. Can I disagree with that? You know, I'm not, you know, I've always been like holding a kind of neutral position on him. So it's like, okay, well, what is he going to say? So the very first thing he says is to have wealth to start your own business, right? That's the number one. He says, start your own business, make money, you know, with your own business. That's the best way to make the most amount of money. And then he says, and then the second thing to do, and I was really waiting to see what is he going to say the second thing. And he said, take the money from the business, make a lot of money from the business and invest it in real estate.
Yep.
That was the second thing. He said, take the money. And this is funny because, you know, I did an interview with MJ DeMarco, the Millionaire Fastlane. And I mean, he didn't do the real estate, but essentially I was like, well, what are you doing now? Like, how are you making money now? Like, you know, are you, you know, what's the end game here? And he's doing the same thing, right? Because he advises the Fastlane, right? He's so much like don't even do, you know, like make money by making a business and make it an online business. He gets more specific there. But then what is he doing now? Well, he's taken all the money he's made from his online businesses, right? And he's put it into actually bonds or, well, dividend yielding stocks and bonds. So he's getting a 5% annual rate of return on his investments, and he lives off of that, and it never dips down. And, you know, he's got several $1 million, so he gets a 6-figure income that never dips down off of that. But he, you know, and I've done the same thing, right? Everything that I've made, I've put into real estate, and that's what I live off of. But it's just, you know, that's a solid strategy. That's the best strategy is you're going to make the most money in the business, but you can't, it's not for everything. You can't always count on that, right? But the stable thing is something, I think real estate, but if not real estate, it could be, you know, bonds. If you're really super conservative, it could be, you know, tips, you know, treasury inflated or inflation adjusted treasury.
That was an appropriate, that was a Freudian slip there. Treasury inflated.
Yeah. But, you know, get your 2.5% like off of your $10 million. If you're really, really super conservative, you don't want to touch it at all. But that's the basic strategy. It's like, that's what you got to do. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't realize that what the end, they're just like, well, I'm just going to make a lot of money and sell my company or whatever, and make millions of dollars. No, you have to take the money. You got to put it somewhere where it's safe, where it's continual. Right. That's the key.
Yeah. It's almost like the way I've kind of looked at it is like, there's like phases where you go, like you're in, right now I'm in building a business phase. And that's like kind of my role. And then in a few years, it's going to be my job essentially is going to be probably buying, you know, learning the real estate thing and buying real estate. And that'll be like, if not like my whole full-time job, certainly like a part-time job for a few years while I learn the ropes doing that. But so you have to be like, you make the money and then you have to learn how to use it and protect it. And it's almost like two separate. It's a lot of effort. That second phase is a lot of effort too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think
if you just stay in that first phase, you're probably going to just continue to burn it,
right,
and never really get anywhere.
Yeah, the other thing I'm thinking about potentially doing too, like, is because I'm going to have to make some decisions now because I've paid off all my real estate now except for the house that I'm living in. I finally this year paid off the last bit of the rest of the stuff. And now I'm thinking about, like, when I make more money, what do I do? Am I going to take that money and then invest in real estate again, like do more of that? Or one thing I'm also considering possibly doing, because I've got kind of the real estate nest egg set up already, is doing some angel investing, or doing the whole, that thing. It's hard now because everyone's doing it, the startup thing, right? It's like, I'm almost wondering if I'm going to wait for a crash, another .com bubble, when everyone's pulling money off the table. I mean, it's gotten a little bit harder now, but where people aren't, because they don't have the money, and then start doing that. That's one of those things that Tim Ferriss did that for a while. He got burned out on it, but it's one of those things where it's high risk, but it's also one of those things where it has a really, really high potential reward in long term. So I would consider possibly, you take 10 shots and one of them pays off. So it's not something that you just like play around with. It's not a good investment strategy for the future unless you have enough bullets in the gun. But I think I might be interested in doing something like that. Just like with everything that we've done and what we've learned about business, I feel like I might have a slight advantage at picking a winner. Kind of, and Tim Ferriss had the same kind of, and he's done really well, but having that edge is something that might be, useful, especially the technology, like, because we've got a double edge, being programmers, being so much in the technology field, understanding things like cryptocurrency and all the trends and trends today are technological trends, right? Like understanding programming, you understand trends better than most people do. So I think there's an advantage there, but I don't know. I'm not 100% if I'm going to go that route or not. So.
Yeah, that's pretty intriguing. I definitely would want to wait till I had pretty good base of capital before but yeah, that at that point you're almost, so like the stock market is pretty lousy in terms of return. Individuals, like basically at that point you're picking individual stocks essentially.
Yeah, it's a similar.
And so it's similar to starting a business in that there's a lot more potential reward there. But.
Yeah. It's good. It's like stocks, but you have more control over it, right? Because you can kind of put your thumb down on the poor founders that have given up the equity. Like, work harder, motherfucker.
Yeah. Note to self: do not take angel investors.
So, but yeah, we've got some good things in the works at Simple Programmer. The book launch. I'm never writing a damn book again.
You are already talking about your next book, though.
Yeah, I know. I'll write another book.
Yeah.
But we finished the editing process. I think we might have one more editor go through, but I finished all my edits. Had Heather go through. That was good because she found a lot of stuff. And then I added a bunch of Hey John sections, which I think is going to add a lot to the book. I think it's kind of cool to go off on these tangents and these stories and answer questions. And a lot of the questions came from feedback from the reviewers. So instead of like trying to modify the chapter, I'm like, oh, fuck, I'll just do Hey John and answer the question directly. And I think that gives a little bit, I like how it makes the book read, but it added about 20,000 words to the book. So we're tipping the scales at like over 200,000 words.
The audiobook is going to be pushing 24 hours at this point.
It's going to be long. And I'm going through, I mean, there's so much content. Like someone who buys this book, like they're getting such value. It's just insane with the value of especially when we launch at 99 cents. I mean, that's just ridiculously insane, because what I'm doing now is I'm going through the links in the book, and I'm getting rid of some of them, and then we're converting all the links to, hopefully we'll have Aaron be able to do that, but we're converting all the links over to pretty links so that we can go to one landing page where people can see all the resources for the chapter, right? So and we can track it, and we can do opt-ins and all that stuff. And I'm going through and I'm filtering out the links and getting rid of any of the shitty links I put in, because I put in some links just because they were going to blog posts. I want to have 2 Amazon affiliate links and at least 2 referential links to our content in there to create the whole network effect. But I'm not pulling out many links, because as I'm looking, I'm like, wow, these links are pretty damn relevant. Like a lot of them are pointing to YouTube videos or blog posts. Like if it's a real shitty blog post, I'm pulling it. But most of them are like YouTube videos that directly address the issues or the, there's a lot of good stuff in there. So a lot of the chapters are going to have like, 10 links in there that are pointing to other content. So, the reason why I'm saying that is because when you buy the book, you get like it's
like
200,000. Yeah,
it's like an index of all simple programmer philosophies and
yeah. Like I've done a pretty damn good job of connecting all these pieces. So you get a 200,000 word book, but you also get like all of this other. I mean, literally, like if we were to like put a value on this and actually build a program, instead of it being a book, it would be something that I would want to sell for like $2,000-$3,000, maybe even more. Like, I mean, this is like, you've got hours and hours and hours of content, all curated, right? All here. The amount of effort we put into this, we could have put a $2,000, $3,000 program together. So, but it's good. I'm feeling good. I mean, this is one of those things that I think can be a flagship where when people buy this book and they go through it and they see the value they get from it, I think we're going to move them over to that hot zone real quick.
Yeah. Yep. And hopefully sell a whole bunch of copies.
Yeah. The cover I'm happy with. I just launched the 99 designs for the book landing page, and man, that guy, that one of the designers, we're gonna have a nice looking book landing page, I think. And Rodrigo to finish up the trailer, the book trailer, which we'll have to release on YouTube and stuff for everyone that wants to watch it. And that, I think that came out fantastic. So I mean, this is like, we're gonna blast like 1.5 million developers probably on launch day, somewhere maybe 1 million.
Yeah, I think it'll probably be around 1 million with all the emails we're sending out. So we're hitting a bunch of different lists. So
this is crazy. If we got like a 10% conversion rate, I'm blasting 1 million developers, which I honestly think that is possible simply because you're selling a 200,000 page book for 99 cents, at least the Kindle version, right? And we'll sell some free versions. We could sell 100,000 copies on the first day, and I think that would probably like put us in the record best selling book launch ever on Amazon. Maybe I don't know what the numbers are, but it's got to be somewhere around there. I don't think someone sold like 1 million copies on the first day of anything.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I think if we hit 10 or 20,000, we might be in the running for that.
For the biggest launch ever on Amazon, most sales.
Yeah, I do. I
guess that's possible.
Tim Ferriss did not hit. He hit number 4 on Amazon with Tools of the Titans, I think.
Yeah.
And I seem to remember seeing his launch numbers being in the thousands, but I could be wrong on that. So, yeah, he was really going for New York Times, which we're not going for the mainstream. We're just looking at Amazon. But if we can do, I'll be really happy if we crack 10,000 sales on the launch.
Oh yeah, that would make it a success for sure.
But, because most software development books sell 500 copies or less.
But and I mean, Soft Skills has probably sold, I think, 50,000 copies, or maybe it's hard to tell because of all the language, the translations in Chinese and Russian and all that stuff, but Portuguese. But I think, well, you know what I'm really excited about with the book though is because if we've got this solid landing page, if we've got this trailer, right? We've got, like, it's not just a launch. I mean, the launch is definitely going to be great, but we've got something now that we can point people to and continually, so like, we're going to sell this for a long time. Like, this is going to be, it's going to beat Soft Skills as far as selling, because when you've got that beautiful landing page, when you've got that trailer, you know, when you've got all these elements that make it look like such a professional book, I really see it being, you know, one of those things. Like, I've wanted to go back and take some of our other products and make them beautiful like this. Like, and I still want to. I still want to go back and revamp this, but this will be the first product that we've launched that we've like dressed it up to the nines and really like have beautiful stuff. It's really complete. It's really, you know, solid. Like, we can push the hell out of it. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm pretty much thinking that this is going to be, we're going to do basically all of our marketing is going to be to sell this book.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
everything else will sell off the back of it.
Oh yeah,
So,
and by the way, as I'm going through the links, you
okay.
might want to scale. Well, there's about like I'm only in like chapter 25, and I think there's probably like 10 links to how to market yourself as a software developer and 10 to 10 steps to learn anything quickly. So
Yeah.
we're gonna have some implicit opt-ins in there, like sales. So you won't have to be super aggressive with the the advertisements in there in the book.
Okay.
So.
All right. Yeah. So I think why don't we kill you want to just kill the idea then of sticking ads in the back? Because I think having them inline is better anyway.
It's probably a good idea to just have those full page ads
Okay.
in the back as well, and have some kind of like, bonus offer for the book, like go and sign up.
Oh
and,
yeah.
and
So
get this
yeah.
stuff.
So what I'm planning to do for the bounce back offers, definitely 100% we're going to have that. So
Yeah.
what I'm envisioning is throughout the book. So for like some of the big chapters, big sections, we'll have pretty much at least one bonus per section of the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm going to talk about the bonus. I'm going to talk about whatever that bonus, the related bonus is in the chapter, because we have the chapter or we have the section introductions where there's like, it'll be like, what do I need to know? Like the sections, like, how do I become a software developer? So we'll have some bonus that's related to that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll talk about that in the section that introduces that section of the book. There's like an intro that kicks it off. Talk about it there, mention it a few times in line throughout the chapters. So I'll have to go back and probably add a sentence here and there to talk about that specific bonus. But all those links are going to point to the same landing page. I'll be pitching specific bonuses at different points in the book, but it's all going to be one landing page.
Yeah.
And it's going to be one product, and they're going to basically go through a checkout process to quote unquote buy the product, but they're going to have a coupon that gives it to them for free. So there's going to be a price on the product, price on the bonus. They get it for free because it's a supplement to the book.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to have upsell offers in that too. So I think we're going to make some pretty good sales off of that right out of the gate.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think this is going to be huge. We just got to finish this up. It's been hard though. I've been like I do not want to do this anymore. I'm done with the book stuff. Like,
yeah,
I mean, this has been like I started this June of last year. Yeah,
a
year ago. So it's been. I mean, it was 6 months of writing, and then it's been another 6 months of planning and marketing and all this. Like, so hopefully this will pay off. And but I think it will. I at this point I can't see, we just got to get the stuff done that needs to get done at this point. Which once we get those links done, that's the last real big headache. And then we get, well, assuming that we can get a formatter, but it's pretty standard for people to format the book. And then we got to get it up on CreateSpace and all that stuff. It's little tasks at that point, and we could get one more copy edit if we want to. There's some things like that, but I'm not even concerned too much about the promotion, like reaching out to partners and stuff, because I feel like just with the email list blasts and just that's going to have the biggest leverage anyway.
If you could find it in you to go through I think going through the podcast developers list would be the lowest hanging fruit that we could do. Yeah.
And I've already contacted some of them. I mean,
I really want to get us on .NET Rocks.
I know. I need to get. I've been on there like 3 or 4 times now. So I sent an email. I didn't get a response back. So I'll have to ping them again and see. I don't think that should be an issue, but
that would be huge right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is going to be pretty crazy. People are going to be so sick of hearing about this book.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a pretty good chance that the average, pretty much, probably the most active, engaged 25% of software developers are going to get at least one email in their inbox related to this. you know, at least one, and some of them will hear about it 4 or 5 times in their email inbox probably.
Yeah.
And not even from us directly. So
Yeah, that'll be good. I mean, that's how you do it. That's how you hit it. You know, the power law. So,
yep.
And the bar is not very high. Like I said, no one's ever really done this with a software development book before. So, you know, we got the first mover advantage as well. And once we do this, a bunch of people will copy us. But
right.
we'll see. So cool. Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. I think this will be good. I just want to get focused on getting this stuff done. Oh, did you have a chance to watch that video I sent for Aaron to?
I did. I did not go. I didn't actually do it myself. I went through though and watched the video, and it looked pretty clear. And then I did another video to give him an overview of what we were actually doing, because you kind of just dove into the steps. So I just told him the backstory about the book and the pretty links and the landing page and everything. So, and then I told him, I said, I had him do 1 chapter and then come back to us and we'll review it.
Perfect.
So that way we don't have 8 chapters, you know, that are all screwed up. So I think we'll be good.
Okay. And I'm about halfway through filtering the links out. So I'm working ahead of him. So that's my top priority. So,
one thing I've noticed in a couple of places, some of the links that you put in originally in the Google Doc were like AMP links from Google, where you copy and pasted. I think you clicked on the Google search result, or somebody did.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Maybe the editorial team did, and so if you might want to keep an eye out for those.
Okay, yeah, I've been taking a look. I think I fixed 1 or 2 of them that were in there.
Okay.
So that's easy to spot too, and we can fix that. So. Cool. Oh, hey, one other thing I want to do now. You're not going to like this, but
oh no.
Now that I saw that book, now that I saw that book landing page, I want to take, I don't know, 10 steps to learn anything quickly. Hire that exact same designer and have him do the same thing and same requirements. So say we need to have all the text on here, right? And see, because if we could do that, if we could get that design, that kind of aesthetic design, and still have all the content, the communication, and I think that we could overcome that. One of the major objections that people have, which is the spammy, it looks like a click funnel, like the typical long form sales page. But if we can do that and still have the content, I think we could, we could push harder too. Right. So.
Yeah, I would like to try it. Well, this book page will be a great test because we'll be able to see. It'll be like we'll have a direct one-to-one comparison. I'm betting that it will cut the conversion rate down by 10%.
It may.
From currently the conversion rate on the page that I did is 40%. So
yeah, it's possible.
It would still be pretty strong at 30%, but it's so hard. I was telling Lisa last night too. It's like it's so hard to know because like. You really have to you have to be omnipotent to really measure this because all right, so 40% to 30% sounds like a big cut. Well, maybe the 10% you lost were the people that weren't going to buy anyway, or maybe you're attracting 30% of the 60% you were off-putting before, and they're a better 30%. Or maybe you're just cutting your business by 25%. Like you have to be able to like connect all the dots for the next 2 to 3 years with those people that sign up, and there's just impossible.
Well, the thing I think, I mean, to some degree, as long as you're not killing it, right? Like if it drops the conversion rate in half, then we have to really can question things. But if it drops it by a small amount, then the overlying principle and philosophy that's working for us and we know works for us is to be polarizing. So I'd rather have people be more excited about shit and less of them.
Spammy is polarizing.
Well, yeah, but in the wrong way. Like we want people to be more excited about shit.
Right.
It polarized that way, right? If you give me the choice of having, again, on YouTube, right, we have so many. Rodrigo was freaking about the unsubscribes. I'm like, no, unsubscribes are good. But if you said, okay, well, you could have 10,000 new subscribers per month, but they're all going to be like neutral about you. Or you can have 5,000 new subscribers per month, but they're all, but like, you know, 25% of those people are like just fucking gung ho, right? I'd prefer that. That's better. Overall, you're going to have a better, you're going to, you know, do better in the long run. So, so that's where I'm coming to with this is it's like, you know, I want to have something that we're going to, and I really think that the people are going to follow through more with, even if the conversion rate drops slightly. So.
Yeah, we one thing that would be interesting we could check would be to tag the people that come from the two different landing pages, and then check the engagement rate and just see, you know, like let them both run for a month side by side, and then check, you know, whose points are, you know, who has the higher engagement rate, who has the higher lifetime value already after a month in drip. Like that would be pretty easy to track.
So you got to read that book too. This just remind me another reason why I was recommending that Algorithms to Live By book for you.
Okay.
Because there's actually a section of the book that talks about too many data points, and it talks about how actually having too many data points makes it so that you get the wrong outcome, the wrong statistics. And he uses some example with like there's like marital happiness statistics in the book, and he's got like different things. There's like 9 total data points, and when they chart there's like he does one option where they chart it with 2, one where they use 3 of them, and one where they use all 9, right? And the one that they use all 9, like asking people 9 different questions and charting all those things, and it ends up actually being wrong. The results that come out end up being not as accurate as the results of 3 data points. So you know, the big thing when I was listening to that part of the book, I was like, oh yeah, this is kind of an interesting thing, because this is that whole statistics versus, you know, analytics versus the feel. And there's, I mean, not that you can't totally ignore analytics, but like you said, you don't know what 10% you're losing if you lose 10%. Like analytics can sometimes point you in the wrong direction if you've got too much of it and you're just making decisions based on that. Whereas if you have sometimes a few less data points, like what we're doing with the YouTube videos, right? So we just upped the budget today, right? You just upped it to $300 a day on the, and even though the stats aren't showing that we're getting referrals from the,
we haven't tracked any conversions yet.
Right.
From Google Analytics.
But it feels like we are. And but here's the thing. It's like if we up this budget, right, we'll know. Like in a few days, we will know for sure. It doesn't matter what, right? And so the analytics could technically be pointing us wrong, but we're both doing this because we have this feel. We're like, it seems like we're selling more when we're advertising this thing.
Well, when I checked, I mean, we definitely are selling more. There's a pretty nice jump in our sales over the last 2 weeks, but several things changed all at once. We're not sure exactly what's causing it. So this will eliminate one of those, one of the options anyway.
Yeah. So we'll see. But you know, any time that you can do an extreme test instead of analytics, so you kind of have to balance the, like, there's never just an analytical answer to most questions in business. But.
Agreed. Yep. It's a combination of gut feel, and then you kind of have to go with your gut feel to formulate good hypotheses and then try to validate them as best you can. But it's never going to be perfect. That's why like every study that's ever been done, right? It's like you're like, oh, finally they're going to figure this out, and then it just turns into a war when the study comes out. Because there's like always holes in no matter how hard you work on it, there's going to be holes. And, you know, people that don't want to agree with the study are going to find the holes and focus on them. So. Yeah.
Well, and it's just a matter of, I mean, to some degree, you've got to do what you feel is right, regardless, you know, unless you're getting really clear signs that it's not working.
Yeah.
Okay.
So today, speaking of really clear signs, so we've served almost 2,600 views of the video, and we have no sales.
Oh, so, okay.
Yeah. Well, so we'll let it go for a couple of days.
Yeah.
The problem is YouTube YouTube is good. YouTube ads are good for mobile, but desktop, like people aren't going to go, are less likely to go buy a product on mobile, and that's where you can get the cheap views on YouTube. So
Yeah.
it's good for like growing the channel. It's good for like going out and finding new people, bringing them in, and then retargeting them. But the problem is now, like when I want to target them on desktop where they could actually go and punch in their credit card information, I'm not getting any, like I can't get YouTube to show the ads. We've shown I'm bidding 15 cents per view right now on desktop, and we've shown 4 ads today. We've shown 4 views on, I have a $150 budget. I'm bidding 15 cents a view, and I have gotten 4 views on desktop.
It's just, it's expensive.
Yep.
Like that's, we're competing against expensive clicks. Well, the other thing is once we move to a different platform too, besides Zaxa, is Apple Pay. I think will make a difference too, because
the Thrive Cart supports Apple Pay.
Sweet. Yeah, Apple Pay and I'll have to see. We've been selling T-shirts.
Yeah, we
since
have.
I promoted the that, so we'll have to see what happens. I'm curious. I was just going to check to see if the people that have bought recently have been buying with Apple Pay or anything like that. I'm not sure.
Yeah, the Apple Pay thing is a kind of, if that becomes more widely adopted, then that's could be a game changer.
Yeah.
So although I don't use, I guess it's supported in Chrome on iOS too, but I use Chrome, not Safari. So
I'm breaking our store by updating to the new WordPress and the new version.
Oh gosh.
WooCommerce. So let's see what.
All right. Well, why don't we wind down before you do that?
let's do our thoughts for the week.
All right. I don't know. This has just been a pretty overwhelming week for me with hitting our milestone. I mean, there were definitely times I felt like it was never going to happen.
Yeah.
But little bit at a time, keep chipping away at it, and like everything kind of snowballed. And it's not one big thing. A lot of times I went through the profit and loss statement last night with Lisa, and we have probably at least 10 or 15 different line items for revenue.
Yeah, exactly.
Simple programmer, and we've moved the needle on all of them. And we basically tripled the revenue. So don't despise little things, maybe.
Yeah, it's very true. I would say, I'm trying to think of I've been having a really productive last 2 weeks. I think I mentioned it last time, but I'll sort of double down on the thought of plan your day ahead of time, focus on the biggest task, the most important thing first, and just heads down on that. Cut out all the distractions as much as possible, and you're going to feel a lot better as well, right? Yeah, the times that I've even when I've already finished my work and I go and I check Facebook or YouTube comments or something like that, I suddenly get these, you just there's these subconscious things that just weigh you down. And so I've been trying to be a lot more light as far as that goes, and just, the basics, just plan the day, work on the Pomodoro technique, set realistic goals of what you're going to accomplish during the day, and then just go and do it. And that's it. And it's the most rewarding way to work. You think that it's not, but it honestly is. I've still got to work on defining. I was actually reading this book that was kind of a bit cheesy, but I might like it. It's called The 5-Second Rule, and it started out really, really cheesy, but one of the things that she was saying in the book was define your stopping time too. And and I think that's one of the things that I need to work on a little bit more, is just so that the work is done. Last Friday actually was the first Friday that I finished my stuff, and I went to the gym to do my workout, and I didn't have that. I normally have this cloud of unfinished crap and I feel like I'm in this daze of there's stuff I didn't get to. I don't even know what I didn't have time to process my thought. You know what I mean? This really weird. and I hate that. It happens to me on Fridays. I just can't relax because I've got like, and I've gotten the stuff done, but because it was in such a rush and whatnot. And so last Friday was the first one I was like, whoa, hey, it's Friday and I'm done, and I'm done. Like, you know, I got done what I wanted to do, and I felt pretty damn good about that. So yeah, I've definitely made some big improvements, but I've got some ways to go. But I always forget this, right? I've been in these periods, but I forget how important this is. So
yeah, it's really difficult. It takes a lot of discipline to hit that first thing in the morning.
yeah.
Because I just continually fall into like, oh, let me just do this one thing. And then, you know, and then it's like all these little, I end up doing 20 little things, and then it's 11 o'clock and I'm like, oh, I did it again.
Yeah.
So,
all right, cool. No Derek and no Chuck. We knew Chuck. Derek might have gotten kidnapped or something. So all right.
Alrighty. See ya.
See you later. Yeah.